button deliberately, which is beautiful. All right. Okay, so you are all playing people who have been traveling through Europe in the hiatus. The hiatus between the defeat of Napoleon Bonaparte at the Battle of Austerlitz and his return, which has just occurred to France. His return from exile. He arrives on the southern coast off the Mediterranean, rides a horse all the way into Paris. The French king, Louis the 17th, I think it is at this point, attempts to rally the forces of the army to stop him. And the army says, you are an entitled idiot and he's really good at winning battles. We might go with him. Thanks very much. It was real. And all very rapidly fall in behind Napoleon. You were in France at the time for various reasons, but you're all sort of a party. And you have leapt upon the good ship Penelope at the port of Brest. And it's an interesting ship. It's painted black, which is not that uncommon. The black sails, however, are a trifle concerning. So it has black sails. It's painted black. The crew are partially Breton and partially from the south, sort of east coast of England. They seem to get on quite fine and operate in this kind of pidgin French-English mix that they use to communicate with each other. And there's a lot of barrels on the ship. A large number of barrels have been loaded on the ship. You have all, however, found yourselves unable to access a more appropriate vessel. And in your desperate attempt to flee the oncoming storm of the troll of France or the monster of France, you've all seen pictures. Of course, cartoons of Napoleon have filled your lives for the last 15 odd years. And so you find yourselves on the good ship Penelope. The captain, a surly man, did not even give you his name, but he did take your money and has promised you safe passage to Kent, where I will arrange for your arrival. And I trust my ladies and good gentlefolk and possibly others that you will find that of use. So on that note, I leave you to your selves, and I do trust that you will enjoy this trip. At that point, he disappears. You never see him again, and you're left kind of standing on this deck of this black painted ship with the black sails, pulling out of Brest.
What a charming fellow. He must be very busy to rush off like that.
A very firm hand on the Richter's arm. Richter, I do not feel very safe about this.
Oh, look, he's fine. He's just a very busy man. I mean, I don't know about the black. Maybe he's just cheap on pitch or something. It was, yeah.
Do you think someone would be around to show us to our cabins? No?
Yeah. A cabin. A cabin would be very nice.
Of course, madam. You must have a cabin. Huh? I thought we paid for this.
Young ladies, I need to get them inside and away from these sailors.
Oh, they are rough, brigands, probably. Never mind. I shall protect your good name. I am Reginald Duplessis. Yes. Greetings.
Very French to me, Viscountess.
Yes,
pardon, sir. I am from the Netherlands. not from France.
He's not even going to say Brussels.
An easy mistake to make. Pardon. Your pardon is accepted.
I'm from the Netherlands. Yes, did we go there, Richter, on our tour? I don't believe we did.
We did. I thought we did.
Oh, we've been so many places on our tour.
Surely you have been to Brussels. It is like the Paris of North France.
Richter and myself are very fond of art. We've come to Europe to see all of the beautiful religious painting.
Yes.
Well,
But of course now we've had to leave in such a dreadful hurry, and these young ladies, they didn't even get to take their dresses from Paris.
Oh, a travesty.
What will do?
I think that, like, perhaps Georgiana and I are kind of like off to one side, kind of like surveying perhaps like the sea while this kind of chattering goes on. We're very used to this at this point of the trip. This kind of like conversation. And I think that like, at least for Eliza's part, she's just kind of like, there's maybe just like a seat or some sort of like crate that's quite close to the side of the ship. And she just kind of, she's been just reading, trying to drone out everything that's like happening. She's reading, what's it called again? I think it's called a Defensive Man or something like that. There's a title from Mary Wollstonecraft, and it's basically a book about political dissidents and also shutting down the idea of aristocracy because it's based in misogyny. And so she kind of just like, it's like, has her book in her hand, and she kind of just like lowers it and like locks eyes with like Georgiana, and she's like, do you think we'll die?
Well,
We're on a pirate vessel. I think we're going to die.
I see no evidence for the fact this might be a pirate vessel, but I guess we shall see. I trust that Francis has chosen wisely. After all, the rector did recommend this vessel, although what his experience with seacraft, I am not entirely sure.
I'm sure that he's been, across the seas many times. Of course, this is only my second time abroad. I can't remember, but there's something about the political turmoil at this point in history. It's very maybe we'll be set upon. Maybe we'll be saved by the British.
We shall just have to wait and see.
Well, let me see if I can do something about our cabins. I try and grab the nearest passerby who looks slightly crew-like and ask.
They're easy to find. There's a few of them, and there's really no one else on the ship, so the number of crew to other people is high.
Oh, good. Well, there's a high chance that we'll get somebody who can help us.
Right. So you just grab some random dude.
Excuse me, good man.
Excusez-moi.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's French. Okay, I'll speak slowly, but can
Loudly.
you give us our cabins?
Loudly.
If I may, I maybe I can translate for you. Good man, where are our cabins? It's the accent, you see, that the South, they do not understand the proper Flemish.
Yeah. I like the fact that your character's just moving up and down the coastline of Europe, just from moment to moment. Like,
so he's actually a Frenchman.
I'm a Flemish, Netherlands living person who comes from Brussels.
Well, he's like so.
And he's probably got a bit of Swiss in him as well.
Yeah, if you play your cards right. I did some research today about the history. So he's actually a French guy, but he's pretending that he's not because he's kind of had to leave France fairly swiftly after the play that he put on was not received particularly well. That's so he's getting his things confused a little bit. So these lovely people, English, stinky English. They require their cabins quickly. quick click. That I'm sure there would be money in it for you. So I translate terribly to the point where everyone else can pretty much understand what I'm saying.
Cabins? He looks around. Points below the deck and kind of goes to the point, like you've got, a big hold in the middle. He points down into it and goes, you want Amex?
Oh, God, no. I'm dead, God damn it, man. Sorry.
Surely the captain as a cabin that he would give up for the very esteemed lady and gentleman, of course. No?
Yep. He looks at all of you. So you want me to ask the so you want me to ask the captain if he will give up his cabin for your ladies?
Oh, I think you just need to point us in the right direction, and the lady can we can sort it out from there. I'm sure it's just all.
Oh, okay, that's a much better plan. I like that plan better. Yes, you go to the back of the boat, and there's the door, and you go through the door and down the stairs, and then you go to the room at the end, and that is the captain's cabin.
Thank you, Empress. After you, we shall follow and see how we go on.
So, the ship of the man of war leads the posse of smaller ships forward and into the thing. Can I assume? Is that what we're doing here? I should have asked you to describe your characters, but I'm gonna, for at least the next hour, call you the man of war, moving through everything.
Yes, the Viscountess is very large woman.
She's a very large.
Just curious, how is your character normally addressed?
I think mostly people would call me Lady Purbeck.
Okay.
I'd be Viscountess Purbeck if I was being announced.
Okay.
Something my daughter-in-law wasn't. Otherwise, I have to be called the Dowager Viscountess. But yeah, everyone should be calling me Lady Purbeck, basically.
I'm going to get that wrong every time. It'll be yeah.
But I'm over 6 foot tall and very stout woman with a bosom that leads the way. Like the bow of the ship, really.
Yeah, the man of war reference is deliberate.
Yes, yes.
With
a very large turning circle, I'm sure. So
yeah.
Lead on, your munificence. We shall follow you.
Excellent. Right. So down to the back. Thank you very much, good sir, for those instructions. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so you barely fit through the door because it's kind of built for sailors running backwards and forwards. It's not, but you fit through the door. It's dark, it's shadowy. There's a lantern sort of hanging, and there's a door at the end, and you can sort of follow the instructions. They're not complicated. There's not a lot of turns. So I assume you rap on the door loudly? What are you doing? Right. Okay. Yes. Hello. What can I do for you, ma'am? And this door opens, and it's the guy you were talking to before. He's using a different voice now, and it sounds much more captain-y. He's sounding much more like a captain.
Less piratey.
Less piratey, exactly. Yes, ma'am. What can I do for you?
Captain, we would like to be shown to our cabin, please.
He looks around at the corridor, which you've noted had no other doors.
Yeah.
There weren't other doors. There's just the door at the end.
I'm giving him opportunity to do the right thing here. That's right.
Would you like to roll, I don't know, intimidate? I believe you're a reasonably intimidating person. Is that not true?
Yeah, that would be. Sorry, I'm just going to have to glass it out. Whoa, so I can see. So what do I roll on the
Oh
star?
no, your intimidate's really low.
Oh yeah. No, I'm very good at the etiquette, but not the intimidate so much. All
Okay,
right, let's
well,
have a rate.
it's that or a persuade roll.
No, what's my persuade? Oh goodness,
Much
sorry.
better than your intimidate. I can tell you that much for free.
Where is persuade? Oh yeah, way down here. Here we go. Persuade.
And you just click on the name of the skill, and it'll pop up the box, and you just roll.
What? Are we wanting low or high? I can't remember.
Okay, so you roll under the skill.
Yeah,
Low.
so good. I did 23. Low is
And,
good.
and if you can roll way lower, it's even better. So you have, okay, so he, and the little stars, by the way, is the level of success that you've achieved. So a standard success is 1 star, a hard success is 2 stars, and an extreme success is 3 stars. So when you see that chat window where the roll, that's what the 3 star, that's what the sort of
all right,
stars
yeah.
Okay, so he kind of mutters a bit and goes, we don't have any cabins, ma'am. Well, other than my own, which of course you can't possibly be. You are, aren't you?
I am responsible for these 2 young ladies, and they need a safe bed to sleep upon. Now, myself, well, I can make do with a chair or even a pad upon the floor. I do have my own padding, I know. And the rector perhaps could just sleep outside the door to keep us safe. And I'm this young fine gentleman, he also has offered to keep us safe.
But of course, madam.
Weird French guy. Flemish. Sorry, the Flemish guy.
But he seems safer than a pirate, so
Who doesn't speak any Flemish, just to make that clear.
Yeah, that's right.
Rob, would you just this moment spotlights your character? Would you care to explain or describe your character and the level of protective, the way he's a protective asset to the rest of the group, like you sleeping outside the door? How do we feel that's going to operate?
Well, my bones mightn't take it. I mean, sure, there's been times in my youth where I've slept in such odd places, but really, I think I'm not sure if I would actually sleep in the hallway. But these girls do need to have a place to stay, and the good captain is looking very generous in God's eyes.
Whether he likes it or not.
As for me, I don't want to be a burden or anything like that. Yes, the Lord will provide. You really have, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. It's pretty fast. Okay. So the ship can actually cross the channel in about 15 hours. So you're not even. It's not even a full day. So
excellent. So, Captain, you could easily supervise on your crew in that time, whilst the ladies actually can take some weight off their feet and enjoy the journey in your splendid cabin. I mean, I love.
Nothing would bring me greater joy. I would love to surrender my cabin and go and spend quality time with the rest of the crew. Perhaps I do that and allow all of you to make use of this space. I will make the point that we will be arriving tonight under the cover of darkness. So you probably won't get a lot of time to sleep because we'll obviously be arriving at a time where you might need to transship off the boat.
Oh, that's very exciting.
Yeah, excellent plan. We get a full day ahead of us. That's an excellent plan. I like that.
Okay,
are you
so
trying to avoid any French patrols that might be this far out, are you?
Oh,
he looks at you for a second and goes, yes, that's actually, no, he thinks about it for a moment. He was going to give you the actual answer, and then he pulls back from that moment and goes, No. Yes, you're right. Since Napoleon's return and his gathering up of his land army, the French Navy has suddenly reinvigorated and is now patrolling the channel. You've spotted it, sir. That level of
I really appreciate you looking out for us. Thank you very much, Captain.
Is very reassuring. So he exits the room quite quickly, terrified that he'll end up having more conversation with you, and sort of closes the door behind him. You're all on this, what is a one-person cabin at the back of what is effectively a small smuggling vessel. So there's not a lot of room here. It's not overly, comfy. There's a single bed. There's a desk. There's a chair at the desk. There's a bit of open ground, a bit of open floor. There's various things hanging from the sides, and you can see through the back the receding, through the glass sort of window at the back of the ship. You can see the receding French coastline as you make rapid movement across the channel. It's a beautiful day, by the way. It's actually quite lovely.
Lovely.
If the coastline, if I was French, I would have a tear in my eye at how beautiful it is right now. However, I am not, so to your French. Let us go. Ladies and gentlemen, should we find the trip a little bit humorous, I would obviously gladly offer my services. I know a couple of soliloquy monologues that I could perhaps perform for you to distract us. No problem, free of charge.
Georgiana Wentworth and Eliza, you've been jammed into this small space with all these elderly people and the weird French guy. The two elderly people and the weird French guy. Where are you guys at? What's going on there? Like, what's happening, Eliza?
Yeah, I think that I'd like first I want to kind of throw to Georgiana. I think that like Eliza really does enjoy perhaps less in this company, but she generally enjoys people watching. So I think that that she's kind of just like watching around to like get the read of how everyone's feeling about what's happening. And what does she see in Georgiana? Or what does Georgiana say?
So I think Georgiana's probably just standing around as well. She's probably just trying to get behind the Viscountess and make herself as inconspicuous as possible. However, she will be just scanning the cabin. Are there any, does the captain have any books lying around? Are there any, maps up on the walls, anything like that she can just go check out?
Yeah, there is definitely maps. There's not much in the way of reading material, but there are maps, and there's a number of them piled onto the desk that described. So you can see maps of the English coastline. The major ports are being called out, and there seem to be a number of small X's placed in various coves along the coast. Little sort of markers and some words written next to them, like between this time and this time, on this date, that sort of thing. Useful information, of course.
Interesting.
Okay. Now, none of you are particularly worldly, but you are at least vaguely aware that smuggling is a thing. Like, it's not like it's a secret. I mean, people have been smuggling across the channel for 300, 400, 500 years by this point even. Does anyone care to twig? Does anyone care?
I think that I would. Could I persuade you into a library use role to understand?
You could.
Excellent.
You could.
I will do that. Extreme success.
Of course. Okay. So, yep. Then there's, all those times and dates look pretty sus. They look like you would recognize that they're timed with when the moon is, new as opposed to full. And you think about the color of the sails and you think about that and you say it's almost like you'd be sailing in on a ship that was painted black, effectively, with no big light, and it would be pretty invisible from the coastline. Like, if you didn't know it was there, the chances that you'd find it are pretty low.
Oh, Georgiana, I'm so intrigued by these maps that you found. I think, as I said before, actually, you know what? I was wrong. They're not pirates. They're smugglers. And I just announced that, and I kind of I turn my head with a kind of appraising eye to the Viscountess to see how scandalized she is to know this.
Oh, Miss Eliza, I fear you are right. I don't like it. I would never have chosen this ship for you, but needs must. We had to flee.
We did, and
I did not feel safe here, but at least now we are safe behind these doors, and I have good Betty in my bag.
Betty, is that your... What was that again? Your
pistol. Yes,
oh, your pistol.
Remember? And I pull out this very antique pistol, even for the time.
And wave it round casually.
I shove it a little bit out of my bag and then put it back. My father gave this to me upon my marriage. He said every woman must be able to defend herself, and I have never let her leave my side, especially when travelling abroad. You never know what will come across.
Well, you never do know what could happen, with... And then she turns to look at Reginald, the French.
He just feigns ignorance of this. Thomas, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
With the maps that you have, I don't know if this is really appropriate, but I do have a forgery skill. I was wondering, can I try and make a copy of the map?
You can.
Is it stretching
fine.
it? Yeah.
No. I mean, there's paper, and you can do a little sketch map of the map if you want, the coast map.
Great. And sorry, I just don't know how to. So do I just click on?
You just click the skill name.
Yep.
And you should pretty much get a little thing, and don't change anything. It's just regular. Right.
Damn.
It's not a great copy.
Okay, cool. That's fine. I just was more about trying to figure out how this sort of worked. So okay. I feel like it's perfect. Mon Dieu, I am an artiste.
Of course you are.
It's completely wrong.
It's completely wrong. You put the X's in the wrong codes. That sort of thing. Okay.
Art is certainly different on the continent.
100%.
I am. My mother always said to me, Reginald, one day you will be a very great arsonist. And here I am, many times later.
She was certainly right about that, I'm sure.
Cousin, Lady Purbeck, may I suggest that while we are on board, perhaps we attempt to not put about that we suspect they may be smugglers. I fear it may make our trip slightly uncomfortable.
I think that is very wise words, Miss Georgiana. We shall all follow your advice. So, keeping our lips sealed about
Our situation
until we are safely home. Just think, it will be a great adventure to tell everyone about. And I'm sorry, I was grabbing my dog.
I do think that prudence and gentility were always your virtues, good cousin, and I completely agree with you. I wouldn't want any of these interesting ruffians to understand that we've cottoned on to their ruse. However, at the end of the day, if we get to our destination, we'll be all the better for it. Let's all just think, just cozy ourselves up and just think of England.
Quite.
All right.
Quite.
Inopportune use of language.
I'm still trying to figure out what he meant
we
by.
have to have some conversations before you are married.
I'm still trying to figure out cotton. What is cotton? What is he talking about? Trying to find any cotton in there.
Time passes. You sit in the cabin
Slowly.
It's very slowly. For some of you slower than others. I don't know how many times Reginald gives a monologue in French to the rest of the group, but presumably by the fifth or sixth rendition, it's getting a bit ordinary. Is Reginald still a dancer as well? Do you still dance?
He does dance. Yes, he does dance.
So I can imagine Reginald is also showing off various dance moves.
I think what Reginald is doing is trying to get the Viscountess to dance in a space that doesn't really allow that. But I will show you the latest moves from France. You look so light on your feet. He is just doing the whole lot, and we're knocking off things and people, but no one, I assume, is saying much.
Everyone else is vaguely horrified. Time passes. It's quite dark. There's a knock on the cabin door. Excuse me, my lady. It is I, the captain, who has returned to his cabin.
Oh, yes, Captain, thank you so much for allowing us to stay in your cabin for the journey. Are we nearly at our port?
We are, and I am pleased to say that you'll be disembarking any minute now.
Oh, very well. We should gather around.
We didn't hear that. We didn't feel anything like dock or anything. Like, have we docked?
No, you
already?
didn't. Docked? Oh no, sir. We won't be docking. What? And he's leading you up the stairs while he's telling you this.
If we're not docking, how are we getting off this boat?
Well, I don't know if you've heard of them, but there are these things called jolly boats. Now, they're highly efficient forms of personal carriage. And
looking over the edge going, they don't look too jolly to me.
Nor do they look very big when you're standing on top of the ship looking down into them. So there's a jolly boat and there's a ladder. And basically, now I understand that some of you may not feel comfortable to use the ladder. This rope ladder hanging.
I shall not be climbing any ladders.
No, ma'am. We understand. So we've sorted that for you, and you see that they've got a small crane that is used to move the barrels onto the boat. What they've done is they've now arranged that into the form of a swing-like seat. If you could just place yourself on the seat, ma'am, we will lower you onto the jolly boat.
Oh,
Now, can I get an etiquette roll to successfully use the ladder in such a way that you pull it off? Okay.
Reginald's humming "Rockabye Baby." Not quite under his breath while this goes on.
So there's quite a bit of maneuvering going on, but by the end of it, you have this very large woman in very large clothing hanging suspended over the side of the ship as she is, as the crew are like, oh my God, trying to hold the rope back as they lower her onto the thing. But you are successfully landed, as it were, into the jolly boat. Could you make for me a? Oh, there's not balance, is there? There is not balance.
There's dexterity.
There's dexterity. Okay, cool. Oh, there's just dexterity, as in a skill roll. Okay, a stat roll. Perfect. Could you just click on your dex? Yeah, you just click on the dex name, and up, and it will roll your dexterity.
Bouncing disguise dodge. I don't.
No, it's in your stats up in the top corner. Not a skill.
Oh, right. Sorry, up here. Okay, now I'm looking. Right.
Is that for everyone?
That's the stats, yeah.
Woo.
Holy hell!
Wow.
Extreme
Honestly,
success.
off my feet.
You did say you were like, well, look, I mean, obviously all that dance training today has paid off because you lightly skip around, whereas some other people are having not quite so much success on the boat, but it's not a fumble. So
Georgiana did not do well.
no, there's a lot more stumbling and falling over. You're rolling your dice privately. Can you stop doing that? I can't see what you've rolled.
Oh, me? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Whoops. That's why. I know why. I got a critical fail.
You got a fumble.
I got a fumble. I got a 100.
Oh shit! Under the
Maybe
guise
you were
of
trying to take too many books with you.
Yes, probably.
yes, under the guise of making sure that those stupid offs did
And
not
I'm going over
drop
as well.
did not drop the viscountess. I was going
Right,
last
I
onto the
think
boat. So, let's have a look. Dex.
Oh, and the rector. Goodness. Yeah.
And the rector. Oh, and Reginald. Wow. Okay. All right. So, look, it's not for those people who failed. It's just you just stumble and trip when you're on the boat. Like
Right.
you're just inelegant, right? It's not.
Yeah.
You're not going over the side. You're just stumbling. However, the 100. The 100. Okay, so you've been swung out over the water to be lowered, and you're desperately holding on to all these books, and maybe not holding on to the rope.
Yeah.
As well as perhaps you could be. So you have this last minute. You have this. What I guess the question I would ask you is, when faced with the very real possibility that it's you or the books that's going in the water.
Oh, myself.
Right.
Can I just suggest something purely for fun? You could always push the roll.
I could push the roll. My dex is 65, which is not too bad. But actually, I think that there's a rule that you can't push a fumble.
Yeah, you can't.
Oh, sorry. I beg your pardon.
Yeah. So I won't. And my choice is the books because part of those books is the novel that she is writing.
Right. Okay. So there's a squeal of dismay. But in the last moment before you hit the water, you're able to put your arms over the boat and drop the books into the boat. But you are now hanging on dear for life onto the edge of the boat. You can't really swim. Yeah. You can't swim normally. You definitively can't swim in the clothing you're wearing. And you're hanging onto the boat.
I think that I think of all the people that she's with at the moment, I mean, even though she doesn't really think that Georgiana will be able to do anything, she's just screaming, cousin!
So cousin, this cry of desperate need has reached your ears.
So Georgiana herself having some difficulty getting down, she will see the predicament and also probably see this rain of books just fall down, including what she knows is her cousin's very beloved manuscript. And she'll just look on in slight horror for a moment, and then Eliza's cry will jolt her out of it, and she will just sort of throw herself over and try to grab her arms and attempt to pull her onto the boat. But I imagine that if all of the very voluminous clothes have gotten wet by this point, it'll be more just a matter of holding her there rather than actually be able to pull her into the boat.
I would agree. So can I get, and by the way, other Georgiana, you are actually completely settled. You have full freedom of decision here. You are the one person who's, all those years that your father used to take you across the channel when you were young, and wherever did the Viscountess get their money? Anyway, whatever the truth of that story may be, you are also completely capable of acting because you're not rocking in any way. So can I get strength rolls, please? Can I get a swimming roll from Eliza?
Yeah, okay. It's based. It's 20.
Here
we go.
Yeah. And
carry the boat herself.
Lab.
Holy hell! I gotta say, Jay, if you keep on rolling like this, it's gonna be awesome. All right.
2 fumbles. That means
fumbles
my critical success is coming. That's what.
That's
that means.
right. Look, surely the universe is going to balance. Or are you actually somehow paired with Georgiana, the Viscountess, and they're going to get the critical extreme successes? Because that's 2 in a row for them as well.
But you know what?
Yeah.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander. So
that is true. That is true.
Oh,
all right.
but,
So
I
Eliza actually starts to go
children,
under.
So
Eliza
okay.
actually starts to go under the water when Georgiana just reaches over, grabs her by the back of the dress, and just drops her in the boat. The crew member who's joined you on the ship is gone.
I think that.
Are you all right?
And I'm going to fumble around in my very voluminous bag and pull out a big kind of pashmina type shawl thing to wrap her in.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Thank you.
I guess.
That, you go. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I guess as soon as Eliza is obviously safe and being tended to by the Viscountess, Georgiana knows that all her books and everything are very important to her, so she'll be sort of looking in vain over to the side, and if any come float within reach, she'll try to grab them up and throw them back into the boat, but whether anything comes close or not is...
So the books were saved, but anything that Eliza was carrying as looseness is probably not saved. So
that's fine.
You as long as my manuscript is safe.
Exactly, 100%.
So you've all now gotten onto the boat. It hasn't been fun. There's a crew member with you, and he, starts pulling the oars towards the shore where you're now being navigated. As he does that, it's really dark because it's a new moon, so you can't see very much, but you can hear something in the distance. Can I get listen rolls from everyone, please?
Yes, you can. Here we go.
Yep. Where am I?
You're still on private.
It's an impressive set of failures.
It is impressive.
Private, I can't see your roll there.
Oh, I clicked public before. It's a 56. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see everyone's rolls. The only person who has not rolled is Cedric. What's going on, Cedric?
Oh, no, I hit it, and I thought it was going to roll, but obviously something went weird. Give me a sec. I'll just look up from the... Oh, my God, come on. It's actually not letting me do anything.
Is your actor locked or unlocked? There's a little...
I'll lock it and see if it does it. Okay, that probably did it. Let me have a go.
Boom.
Listen. There we go.
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right.
Hard success.
All those years of watching the flock on the pews, not listening.
And what you can hear, it makes a lot of sense that you can make it out. It's church bells.
Oh, good Lord. Excellent.
So you can hear this set of church bells tolling, as it were. They sound weird. They sound muffled in some way. But you can hear this tolling of church bells. The rest of you hear nothing other than the waves and the
time of the morning.
Like this time of the middle of the night.
Okay, this time in the middle of the night. That's not a good thing.
I mean, obviously, Vikings are ready. No, sorry. Anyway. All right. Sorry, wrong game. No, maybe not. All right, so the guys...
Did you say that we were landing at Kent?
Yeah, on the Kentish coast, yeah.
Because that's actually where I've made my birthplace, is Kent.
Well, that's beautiful. You'll
because
know
that's
well.
real family history there. But yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, So you pull your way into the beach. You can hear the tolling of the bells. As you come right in on the beach, that tolling noise can now be heard by all of you. So you can all now hear it. And there's a moment of, literally as you're about to land on the shore, there's a moment of silence, like dead silence, like the bells disappear.
Okay.
And they just, like the sound just stops. It doesn't go lighter and then get faded away. It literally just, like someone's just snapped it closed. The rest of you, so this is everyone but Cedric, are sort of caught a bit by surprise. Cedric, you not so much, because you were paying attention to all of this.
Mm-hmm.
The boat pulls up onto the shore, and the guy you're with, the crew member, is looking around very confused.
Is there something the matter?
No, I'm sure it's fine. He's looking around some more.
Were you expecting to meet some people here?
Uh,
To help you with your cargo?
what cargo? He says, ignoring the barrels that are parked at the back of the boat. Yes. But, well, I said, no, it's too weird. It's fine. It's fine. Look, can you get out so that we can disembark?
I think that, like, at this point for Eliza, you know, she's kind of been, like, you know, being consoled by, like, Georgiana, and, like, you know, she has her manuscript close to her chest now. You know, of course, the pashmina is covering it so it doesn't get wet. I think that, like she's kind of just been in shock for a little bit after the water, but just like, it was one of those things that happens to her often, where because she's such a people watcher, she'll sit there and people will be dancing around something and it infuriates her to no end. So I think she kind of like abruptly stands up and just walks directly in front of that person, gets this close to them and says, "Listen here, I am wet, I am tired, I am cold. You are not telling us what we need to know. Are we at Kent? Are we on the French coast? Where are we? I am cold." And I want to attempt to persuade him to tell us exactly what he's not saying.
Okay, by all means, fire away with the persuade check.
Love it. Great.
Again, I fail. But I tried.
But you're improving, because you're not fumbling now. You're just failing. So, we're improving. I mean, that's an improvement, right? We're getting closer to success.
But this is narratively correct. She's incredibly wet. She looks like a drowned rat. So it's not very intimidating.
He's like, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, basically. But look, all of you need to get out of my boat. He keeps on saying, you need to get out of my boat.
How do we get out?
Oh, well, it's beached. I've beached it. You can just step out.
Oh, Victor, give me a
Yeah?
hand down, please.
Sorry, what was that?
But of course, Mademoiselle, we shall help. We shall all help. You get out.
Monsieur,
Yeah.
thank you.
I offer my hand.
I
She's
guess
so
maybe
petite.
Georgiana will take her aunt's arm and sort of, lead her towards the boat to hand her down to the rector or Reginald, whoever managed to win the privilege of getting her off the boat.
It's amazing how wealth has such an impact on behavior. I'm just noting.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I can squash both of them.
Yeah, this is more fear than anything else. She's got a gun. She dances like a ballerina and will kill me if it takes her, if the mood takes her. Yes.
I do whisper into the Viscountess's ear as I'm helping her down, going, I think something might be amiss here, and I don't know what it is.
Sorry, is it too late to psychology that crewman? what he said?
Yeah, you can.
Is that okay? I'll give that
It
a try.
is. It's completely fine. And Cedric, can you make a? Do you have natural world as a knowledge?
Good God, no.
Okay.
Natural philosophy.
Sure, but
No, no, good God. I mean, why would I want natural philosophy? I'm not a scientist. I'm a man of the cloth.
Do you have any knowledge of your home territory? Do you have like region knowledge, or just throwing these things out there in case?
Region knowledge.
History, anything like that, maybe?
I have history. I do have history.
Okay, make a history roll for me. Good spot. Psychology check. Okay, so the sailor.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Nice.
Wow, good.
Very nice. So just to step back a second. So
Yeah.
the sailor is clearly very distressed about something. And specifically you think, like, your analysis or your understanding is specifically there's something wrong with the beach.
Right.
Okay. History roll. Okay, so with a hard success, which you've succeeded at, you know this part of the English seaside. You know, you grew up here. You know it well. You don't recognise it particularly.
This is not the beach that I grew up with.
Yeah, sort of. Like, it feels like the right place, but it doesn't look right. All right. So by this point, you've all disembarked from the boat. Suddenly over your heads, the biggest bloody owl any of you have ever seen. Like, this thing is humongous. Comes arrowing in over the top of your heads and goes, and you hear, "That's a bit odd," as the owl flies on.
Well, whoever said that's right, that is bloody very odd. This place has changed since we went abroad.
I always heard strange things about England, but growing up in Brussels, of course, as I did. But is this normal for around here? I think we should get off this beach either way.
I agree with you, monsieur. We should get off this beach. That is a very large owl. Oh, somebody said something. Yeah.
Are there any sort of obvious paths off the beach, or is there?
Well, what you can actually see in the direction, because you're looking at where the owl has sort of gone, just by dint of the fact it's big and flew that way, you can actually see what looks like some sort of bonfire up above the beach.
I think we should perhaps stay away from that.
Why ever for Lady Purbeck? Surely they can render assistance.
And you must be cold, Eliza. You must be freezing. Huh?
Well, I'm sure Eliza is very cold, and I would love to get her in front of a warm fire. But who do you think has lit that fire when we've just been on the ship of smugglers?
I quite agree with Lady Purbeck. I think it might be best if we stayed away from the fire. At best, it would be just some wanderers. At worst, it could be wreckers or some such thing.
Oh, I hadn't even considered that. Yes, but where is the town? Where is the town? Where are we to spend the night? We need to find ourselves somewhere to sleep.
Okay, so while you're all doing this, the guy who is on the boat has now started to desperately row the boat back out into the water.
And he still has the barrels or whatever it was on the boat.
Yeah, did
He
not
hasn't
take
unloaded
them
any
out.
of them.
No.
Yes, I feel there is some urgency here. Maybe we do not go straight to the fire, but let us get somewhere where maybe a better vantage point or something, and see what we see. So, can we navigate sort of up? Is there a sort of any higher vantage points that maybe might be, or somewhere that because we'll be able to see into the fire better than they can see out, one would assume. Somewhere we can maybe see what's happening.
Yep,
from
you can
a
go
slight
up the
distance.
beach at any point and get up onto the sort of the, not quite cliffs, but like low cliffs, and look across to the fire without a problem and sort of take a bit of a scene. So do you all clean? So bonfire over there, moving this way, for want of better language. You all sort of pass all your way up. There's a lot of scree, so there's a lot of growth, and you kind of come to the top of the cliff, and you can actually see what looks like a town. You can see the lights of a town. It's not well lit, but there's definitely a town on the coast a little bit further down, along the beach from where you are. And you can see lit buildings that way. You can see the big bonfire on the other side. So effectively, if you imagine sort of north to south for simplicity, the town is to the north and the bonfire is to the south along the beach. You can see a lot of wood, by the way. Just one last thing. You can see quite around or near the bonfire particularly, there's actually a whole bunch of trees.
It's like cut down trees. Are there any people?
No, like trees, forest.
Okay,
trees.
sure. Okay. And we can't see anyone around the fire itself.
Oh, make spot rolls for me, please.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not very good at this, but let's try. Nope.
Finally.
Oh.
Georgiana did not succeed that.
Georgiana was cleaning her glasses.
But beautifully, Eliza has flipped now. Looking at that hard success.
I think she got sand in her eyes.
That's right. What are these spots in my eyes? You can see one, maybe three, like a small number of figures sort of standing in front of the fire in the distance, right? So you can see three figures. They look like people, so as far as you can ascertain. And there's a sort of, so you can see three figures, against the fire.
Well, it doesn't seem that there's too many people, and that lovely, warm, beautiful bonfire. But I can understand that there is wisdom. Of course, my cousin is incredibly wise. We should go to town, of course. Surely there's some sort of inn or place that we can find a proper bed for us, and also, of course, the always kind and generous Lady Purbeck.
In French, I say something like the basically the equivalent to "we're going to need a bigger boat" when she mentions the bed for Lady Purbeck.
Can I say every time you do this, is it okay if I just do a French roll? I have a 1% in French.
Yeah,
and I roll it one time. Yeah, literally, I just have to roll a 1. Like,
right, it could happen.
Let's see.
It could happen.
French.
So I language is
close.
Okay, very close. Very
close.
So
I will not
close.
spend luck.
Is anyone who has French allowed to roll, or?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
fire away. This is your living French French tutor. Like literally, Duolingo comes to,
That's it,
that's
that's
exactly
it.
what you needed.
Yeah.
Golf clap, golf clap, golf clap.
Oh, sorry to ask, just a boundary question. How do we mark off skills to
They're
when we
I think
automatically
succeed?
it
marked
does it
off.
automatically, I think, yeah.
Okay.
So see the little yellow circles? You'll have
Yeah.
one
I see
right
that.
now against language French.
Okay. So I think that means I haven't succeeded anything else yet.
Correct.
Yeah, I've only got one,
Okay.
too. Yeah.
And when we finish the module, there's when how I gave you character creation rights. The one above that is advanced character, and assumedly, not that I've used it, but assumedly when I click that one, you'll be able to kind of roll on all of your skills to see if they improve.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so you guys, having ignored the bonfire and the obvious GM, kind of come and have a look at the bonfire, people, bit, which is great. Thank you so much. You all stride to the north towards the town. It's not.
I was torn because I was like, oh, but Elias is so weird.
I'm chilled to the bone.
But no, you've made the choice. You're off to the inn.
Yeah.
So you head towards the town. You come over. It's only it's a shortish, I think would be the right language. Shortish distance. By the time you get there, you're all quite exhausted though, because most of you are not used to, long striding walks across the moors, as it were. You get there. There's a small. Well, it's a town. It's not a village. It's definitely a town. There's a port. Now, who of your characters, so other than the rector who actually has history skill, and I would like you to make a history roll at this point, rector, see if you recognize what you're looking at.
Very good. Nope.
Okay. Don't know what that is. So you don't recognize the town.
Where did they drop us off?
Georgiana also has some decent natural world and history.
Natural world. Perfect. Make a natural world roll for me, please.
It's...
Oh, shit.
Wow. It looks so...
Wow.
Okay, Georgiana, you are absolutely convinced that you're on the coast of France.
We've just done a circle.
You've just done a circle, and they've done a runner, and they've dropped you on the coast of France.
They look so honest.
That's right.
You
are
I'll be putting something in the sermon
convicted
on this one.
I think that I kind of like, as we're walking towards this town or walking into this town, perhaps, you know, like we've got more light on us now, right? So as I'm walking, maybe like arm in arm with Georgiana, I see this look of complete horror on her face, and I kind of just say, "Cousin, whatever is the matter?"
I'm just suddenly overcome by the feeling that we're in France. Those blackguards, they must have turned around while we were in the cabin, and they must have dropped us back in France. I'm sure of it. We are still in France. I know this.
You don't
What?
say.
We're still in France?
Lady Purbeck.
Mon Dieu.
Purbeck, do you hear this? Do you hear what Georgiana is saying?
The Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in people who are trustworthy.
Wise words, Reverend.
Indeed.
Sure.
Well,
the French are not animals. If we are still in Français, then even for someone who lived close and was born close but not from there, they would still obviously take us in, should we be of good appear of good character. So we are cold, tired, I think we should still go ahead.
I think that at this, because I think that what Georgiana said has frightened Eliza a lot, in the sense that, we're not in Paris anymore. We're in some small provincial Parisian town, and she just kind of she grasps onto the arm of Reginald, and says, "Quite sure that there aren't savages in Normandy."
And mademoiselle, look, sadly there are savages everywhere, but look at the English. They have a history of savagery, if you will. Maybe if we have our wits and our gal about us, and some confidence, some elan, we will be okay. Let us stick together. And sorry, pardon me, you are dripping all over my arm. Thank you.
And she just flicks a little bit of water in your direction at that. But I think that she kind of she kind of looks you up and down and says, "Well, by all means, do go on." Kind of ushers you to go forward.
Can I roll preen at this point?
Parlay with the savages.
Do you have fashion as a skill?
I do. I've only got 10 points in it.
I think that's preen. Oh no, we've lost him.
He's overpreened.
Oh, no, he's back. He's coming back. I've added him back in. There we go. You're back.
Okay. Was that me dropping it? Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
So fashion.
Do you want to roll a fashion roll to preen? No. All right. Your preening is ineffective. Okay. At this point, you come down into the town. Now, because you're sort of still cold and wet and you have to do something. The town is silent. There's not many people around. It's dark. However, there is a lit building. There's a quite well lit building, which you assume is the inn, quite reasonably. And there is noise coming from it, like people, the sound of people.
This is a game master trap. We must avoid it.
That's
at
right.
all costs.
As you approach the building, can I get once again everyone to make listen rolls, because that's going to be my favorite roll. Turns out.
Oh shit!
God.
Now, Georgiana, you have recently, you've got a fine ear for French, as it turns out, as you know.
As I've noted.
Yeah. You hear voices talking. They don't sound like they're speaking English.
Oh, I knew we were in France.
It's pretty muted, so you're not, but it doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound like English to you.
That's from inside the building?
Yeah.
So can Georgina then roll a French to see if it is French or something else, or?
Well, if you'd like to get a bit closer and place your ear to the wall, as it were.
Well, if she points at it, yeah, okay. Well, I think we're going to get closer anyway. So, okay.
Georgiana, what would you like to do with this sudden realization that we're not in merry old England anymore?
Okay, I think that Georgiana, I gather from this point that she might be arm in arm with either Lady Purbeck or Eliza, or maybe perhaps both. She'll suddenly just stop still and sort of jerk back, maybe just a little, and say, the voices, they're not English. I told you that we couldn't possibly be in England. They sound wrong somehow. It must be some provincial village in France where they speak some dialect, but I can't understand exactly what it is, but we're definitely not in England.
'Tis as you say, cousin. You've been proven right. And of course, you are one of the most educated and brilliant minds of our age. I do imagine, and she kind of then realizes she's been speaking loud and then kind of whispers, that they are two wonderful masculine compatriots will attend. Of course, Reverend, you have God on your side, and you speak French. So,
They are much the same. You are correct.
oh, is God French? I didn't realize that.
So you're sending the Frenchman in first. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Deploy the
sure.
Frenchman.
Expendable.
Deploy the Frenchman.
All right. So, Frenchman, do you go into the tavern?
Well, I think I'll go up to the door first. Just put an ear on it and see if we can have a bit of a listen. If I can do it that way.
Yep, sure. Make a listen roll.
Can I spend 2 points of luck on that, please? Is that? And how do we do that on the sheets?
You can. How do you change it? I think you right click. Is that how you do
I
it?
just click in there and change the number.
Yeah, you can just click on it.
Okay. So just make that 78.
Spend 2 luck
Okay.
to pass. Yeah, you just click on it.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
And so it'll spend the luck. Nifty. All right. So yeah, it doesn't sound particularly French, but it doesn't sound, and maybe a little bit English. You don't know. It's a bit weird. It's just a little bit weird, but it doesn't sound super French to you.
Okay.
Like you're a native French speaker. Mind you, it could be Breton.
Mon Dieu.
So, like, there's a whole bunch of French people who don't speak French as you recognize it, who happen to be on the coast of Brest and Breton.
Okay.
Is it Flemish? Like you know, like, is it Flemish? I've never heard Flemish before, but you say you're Flemish.
It's that's the whole region. Sometimes it's more of a mindset than an actual physical place.
Considering it literally only started to exist in the last 12 months, yeah, I think that's a fair comment. Belgium did not exist before Napoleon's defeat at Austerlitz.
Because I was looking at
major point.
Because Belgium didn't exist until after Napoleon's death. So at this point, what came to be Belgium is actually called the Netherlands, the United Kingdom of the Netherlands, which then split later on. So that's why I was saying Netherlands before. So yeah, it's not really a thing. It's more like just the general vibe of the thing. Do you have this word in English? So if
proprietary.
Something proprietary. No, I went to the toilet before. Thank you. But I'm not sure. So I can't actually understand what they're saying. All I can do is identify that it's not French. Is that correct?
You're pretty sure it's not French.
Okay. It does not sound like the language of the Southland of my homeland. So no, I do not know. But I feel that with two such great personages as yourself, and of course the Empress here, that we shall be treated accordingly to our station. So
you're having this chat with people right at the door of this tavern, and the door opens, right?
Yeah.
Like, and there's a guy there. He's kind of dressed a little. I mean, he's wearing a long shirt. He's got what looks like pants underneath it. The shirt's quite long though. It's got long arms as well. It's a bit weird. He's wearing this weird sort of cap-like hat that you've not seen before. It's almost sort of like rolled and punched up. It's a very odd hat, particularly to you. It's certainly not modern. It's certainly not stylish, but who knows? The Breton are weird people. Maybe it's Breton. And he looks at you, and I need to read this out because I can't say this off the top of my head. Good evening, Echon. Are you Montan you gist beyond?
Salve qua boss. I return in Latin. Hello, how are you?
He takes, when you say something in Latin, he takes a step back. Oh, apologies, sir. And you start to hear normal language.
Okay. Right.
Apologies, sirs, and good priest. Welcome to my tavern.
It's a lovely tavern. What's the name of this town?
This is Dunwich.
Dunwich.
Aye, Dunwich.
Is this
And
all
now-
still going on? This is all
You
Latin. is it?
you don't need a history roll for this.
Little
I'll
Latin.
give you this one. So Dunwich is a town on the coast. Well, a little decrepit village. So
Mhm.
the Dunwich you know is this little decrepit village. This is a full-on town.
Right.
Make a history roll for me, please.
Yeah.
Lily, is that you
Everyone
frantically
who
taking
wants to make a
notes?
history roll is welcome to make
Sorry.
a history roll.
No,
at
no.
this
Is that what you're doing? Is that right?
Didn't do the history roll.
Yes, sorry. I tend to type things out.
No,
as
cool.
we
No,
play.
that's good. 'cause
Sorry. That's why I
probably won't
usually remember
what's
to
happening.
mute myself.
No, that's not at all. I was just because I won't remember it 2 weeks.
That's
No, not so much.
Not so much.
I'm just
Lily,
stunned
do
that he's
you
reading
want to? Sorry, Georgiana Wentworth. Do you want to make a history roll for me, please, and Eliza as well?
absolutely.
Wow.
Wow.
Georgiana.
Oh my god!
Oh,
Oh, you both snap it. You snap.
On
You snap
fire,
in.
like on fire
Yeah,
on the
okay.
headline.
We had the same history lecturer, you know.
Clearly, yeah,
It
the
was my
same-
father.
The same tutor. So you know a little bit about Dunwich. Matter of fact, you know quite a bit about Dunwich with that role. So Dunwich, like 600 years ago, give or take, or closer to 550, but anyway, let's not dwell, was this thriving portside sort of town / city. And then there was this giant storm that basically writ off more than half of the city. And that's what you know. So, you know, Dunwich used to be big. And that then makes you realize that the guy's clothing is actually reminiscent of, you know, sketches you've seen of people from the 12 to 1300s. So, you know, the illuminations placed on the side of La Morte d'Arthur or Canterbury Tales or whatever, like, you know, things painted on the sides of various manuscripts and those sorts of things. You've seen something like this before. This guy looks kind of like someone from Dunwich.
Okay.
Can I get sanity rolls from everyone, please? Well, can I get sanity rolls, please, from Eliza and... Oh, sorry. Yes, sanity rolls. That's what I want.
Yeah. Well, can I actually, as well, even for those people that might not have like known that, maybe I'll make it a bit easier to be able to roll by just like, because I do think that Eliza sometimes has like brain waves where she's like, "This Eureka, this is the answer," and just blurts it out, and it's just like, "Excuse me, my good man, what year is it?"
He looks at you for a second. It is the year. Actually, I've got the exact wording.
Who's king?
Yes, who was king or queen?
Or queen?
I think it's Edward the Third at this point. 1287. That sounds about right, doesn't it?
I think it's
1287. You said.
Yeah.
I think I should make a constitution roll to see if I stay conscious.
So you can faint.
Yeah. But yes,
Edward
I'll
the
make
First.
it-
My apologies. It's Edward the First.
There we go.
It's the good King Edward the First.
No, good king.
Good King Edward. He doesn't call him the first, actually. He just
Yeah.
says the good King Edward. Because, of course, being the first, you don't put a number on it.
I guess we could say first of his name, but
Yeah. Is good King Edward. He is the mighty smiter of those Celtic scum.
I don't. And she faints because I failed my sanity and my con. So
Right.
Georgiana succeeded her sanity roll, so she will attempt to hold Eliza up.
All right, so it's I need to make a roll here.
And I would posit, being a Frenchman who doesn't know much about English, none of this is phasing me because it's like, you have a King Edward, okay, no problem. Not yet until it gets explained to me.
Yeah.
I don't have a. Oh, I need to turn on the dice thing. I'll do that later. For the sake of simplicity, just lose 2 sanity points, please.
All right. So are the rest of us needing to roll sanity as well?
Yes.
All right. Roll that sanity. Whew.
Wow. The Dowager is just like cruising through this. It's like whatever.
Thankfully, since my sanity is low.
The Rector is a strong mind.
Holy shit, your sanity is low. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I can.
Reginald.
I mean, I can. Are you? Yeah. So, are they speaking in Latin, or can I understand?
No, they're speaking in English.
Okay, cool. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So let me do that.
And then, sorry, Georgiana.
Oh, yes.
If we succeed the sanity roll, do we still lose 2?
No, you lose nothing.
Okay.
It's not that big at this point. Most of you are still a bit suspicious that it's all just a bit weird rather than actually believing that you're in the past. Like, there's a fair amount of what going on yet. But Eliza is convicted. Like, you are completely convicted, Eliza, that's it. You're in 1287. In the, under the rule of Edward I of England.
100%. And I think that as well, like, just that the fact that she's read one too many kind of like scary Charles Dickens novels, like ghost stories and what have you. I think that she's just like, it's all too plausible. So yeah.
Yeah, like what's her name? The French
all the
story about Camilla's already
romances are out at the moment.
Yeah, well, you're seconds away from Prometheus. Also known as.
Well, so if she's if Eliza's fallen down, quick, my good man, let us.
Oh my God! He says
a drink or something to revive her. Quick.
Of course. You must bring her in. Why has she fainted? That is very weird. Anyway, come in, and you're all sort of
dressed so strangely.
You're all sort of usher in, and
it must be the cold.
You're in this tavern. It's definitely a tavern. That's pretty clear. There's people sitting at tables. The good news is, like, from a tech perspective, chairs and tables still look pretty similar. And there's a fire, and there's lit sort of candles. There's 1 or 2 sort of candles in sort of lanterns. There's not a lot of big picture lighting in here. There's a bar, and he's reaching behind the bar. He's coming back with sort of these clay tankards that he's got, which he's filled, and he's putting them on the table. There you go. And he speaks directly to the women as well, which is a big no-no in Regency England. So he's not paying attention to the etiquette, as it were. He's completely blowing through that. There's a couple of other people. They're also dressed a bit weirdly. They have now realized you are all dressed very weirdly.
Well, I will give a look at the mug, which is obviously made out of, you say, pottery or something, and say, the English, they're quaint, no glass, whatever. Okay, and then pour a little bit of that, hold Eliza's head and pour a little bit just in her, not too much, just a little bit. Wake up, Eliza, please come back to us. Do not die now. This is not good.
Okay.
Her eyes just flutter open, and she kind of she kind of sees everyone kind of looking over her, and she just kind of like, I think that she's like, because it only happened if in her mind it happened momentarily, just a second ago. So she's still kind of reeling from that. But I think that she's in shock that she not only fell in the water still, but also just fainted. So I think she's just keeping mum. She's just like, oh, thank you, and she just like takes the tankard and begins to sip it gingerly by the fire.
Yes, let's go and get a seat. Seat by the fire.
It's not great. It's not great. It's not great beer. It doesn't taste particularly good. It's not awesome. You are obviously nobles.
Yeah.
We. Of course we
are. I can tell because you don't speak, well, I mean, you dress. I didn't know this is how noble women dress, but I apologize for not understanding. He's looking at all of you wearing your giant voluminous, gown, dresses with all the attachments and going, okay, that's got to be rich, right? Like, it's clearly got to be about money. Oddly, perhaps the two men are the ones that he finds most confusing, because you're wearing like pants and tight fitting sort of jackets, or at least reasonably tight fitting jackets. You've got, Cedric's wearing this big wide brimmed black hat. He's got a priest collar thing, which is not worn by anyone at this point. No one wears anything like that. That's not how Catholic priests are dressing in the 1300s. 1200s. And I assume Reginald is dressed at the height of French Parisian fashion.
I wrote in his sheet that he's well dressed, but his clothes do look a little tired.
Tattered. Yeah. But you're like kind of got flashy clothing on, right? That's tight fitting and little pants things that are with the stockings on. And he's just like, what the? You don't look right.
We know he doesn't look right.
But you're French, so he's decided that you're just
French.
whatever's going on. Now, okay. Well, look, have a seat. Do you want me to get someone to help? I could perhaps the Father French could come and talk to you. I don't know. I'm afraid our Lord is away with Edward. So
have you got a priest?
Yes, Father French. He could. I'll get my son to go and get him for you. That's the plan.
You're getting your son to get your father, who is French?
Is the priest? He's getting the priest.
Yeah.
My goodness, could you bring us food and drink? And we shall need rooms. We have travelled very far, and we are very tired.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, I don't want to bring up. Looks around at all of you. Where are your manservants?
Alas, we lost them at sea.
He takes off his hat and puts it on his chest.
Okay. Is this any points at Cedric? Is this your factorum? Your
the rector. He's the parish. He's like the father. He's a religious man.
Well, we're all religious men.
He's the church on
he's a priest.
Land.
He's your personal priest.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, well, then he'll be able to deal with it. And he goes over to you. He goes, I don't know how to broach this, mate. But rooms, money.
Money.
Get it through. Yeah, pay for the rooms. I don't want to embarrass the nobles.
Well, we want to see the rooms before we pay for them. Surely you can just make a list of things that we do and eat and the accommodation. We can all pay you at the end. Blimey, man. What are you doing?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to be rude, but I don't know you.
I think that in this moment, like, again, this is going to be a
Do
running
you
theme.
know God? Do you know God?
God pays my bills.
Of course I do. Are you pulling the? Are you questioning a man of the faith?
No, but I'm measuring the man on his convictions of trust of a man of the cloth.
Which is very low at this point, but sure. Anyway, people are buying away into church left, right, and center at this point. This is like paid for material. All right, sure, okay. I'll just wait for Father French then. And actually, at that point, the door bangs open. There's a somewhat elderly, grey-haired man in a long cassock. Broadly speaking, has stayed the same for centuries. I've been, excuse me, sirs, I've been summoned. Father French is my name. And, my ladies, I do apologise. Father French, at your service. He's about 60, maybe a little bit older. How may I be of service? I've been asked to come in.
Oh, well, Father French, please help us. We have been washed ashore and we've lost our way.
We were kidnapped by smugglers who cast us adrift, taking all our goods and killing our manservants. And we throw ourselves upon your mercy.
Oh my God. I am horrified to hear that. It's not acceptable at all. Look, please understand. Very happy to have you here. I'll see what I can do about all your manservants were killed by the smugglers.
They threw them over the side, drowned. Oh. Not even a piece of them left for anyone who was dare to question our story, whatever that might be.
I can't even imagine. And,
it was horrific.
He looks at the dowager and my lady. I assume you are making your way inland.
I'm taking these young ladies to their home.
Okay. Excellent. I won't ask any more questions. Whatever. Look, very happy to help. What can I do to be of service at this point to you all?
Ensure that we have appropriate accommodations, of course, for our wonderful Lady Purbeck. A change of clothes for me, of course. I'm still shivering, as you can quite see. And also perhaps a mode of transportation. Yes. In the morning.
I can see what I can do. I can get a cart organised of some description. Of course, if you have been trained in the riding of horses, I might be able to help with that as well. Perhaps the simplest thing, though, would be simply to get you on a ship and take you inland up one of the rivers. If you could just point me in the general direction of your, like, which town, what is the nearest large town to your homes?
So I reside in Tellyford, but I don't know where anybody else resides.
I'm also from Tellyford. Yeah.
You are almost all of you are from Tellyford. So.
Yeah.
We would know that, right? Like, what the nearest town is.
Canterbury.
Yeah.
which luckily, has been
Still
around since the 6th century. So, as it so happens. So if you give him the answer of Canterbury, he goes, there is a river that goes through Canterbury. I think we can at least get you near it, and then they'll sail along the coast and take you inland from there. Definitely the best way to travel. Yes. Oh, look, just organise them some rooms, and we'll see what we can do about getting you some appropriate clothing. I'm afraid the Lord has gone away. So very quickly, soon afterwards, you are presented with the most revealing piece of clothing you've ever been asked to wear, because you've got this kind of like the dress you're given, which is clearly, well, maybe not clearly, it seems well made. It's quite tight fitting. It's tight fitting around the bodice. It's got a quite tight skirt going down. Like, there's no volume, let us say, to the dress. Like, you are looking at what you would probably perceive as a undergarment.
Right.
Now, it's not an undergarment. It's made with nice material and all of that sort of thing, but it's definitively not your style. Well, we've got you this dress, ma'am.
Oh, lovely. And the rest?
It's the dress. It's
Miss Eliza, we'll just wrap that pashmina around you some more, and
Yes.
this will be fine. And
Yes.
your overcoat will be dry soon enough.
Quite. And if needs must, and I end up taking this, and she kind of like looks at it like, oof. If I have to take this further afield, then I'm sure perhaps an entrance into the town under cover of night would be quite good.
Okay, so you're all bedded down. Father French leaves quite soon after arranging the dress. He just disappears. Makes some comment about, I really do have another appointment. I hope you understand. But I will return in the morrow to talk to you. You all lay down to rest.
Can I ask, one thing quickly, just before?
Yeah.
Could any of us roll psychology on him and whether he hates us and is going to kill us? and I appreciate that may be an extreme or critical success that we would need to even get anything, but I thought it might.
Feel free.
Yeah.
And what time is it now?
Oh, it's like early morning,
like still
very late evening.
Because the thing that he said he had an appointment, that sort of catches in my ears. Who has an appointment at this time in the morning? I mean, I
think that they technically did have like weird prayer schedules, like Vespers and all of that stuff. So technically, I think at 3 a.m. there was some sort of prayer thing that the like the.
I'm making a roll, and I rolled it well for my religion to know.
Oh, very good.
They were praying when they were praying.
Yep. So they have Vespers, they have Matins, they have all these cycles. To be fair, mostly that's done in monasteries, not outside of monasteries. Like, it's mostly an observance of monasteries to sort of, as religious practice. But he is a priest. He's not just a common person, so he may be doing that. But like not everyone is waking up at 3 a.m. to do prayers. But the monasteries definitely are, and religious practice would suggest he might as well. But he specifically said he had an appointment, though. Didn't say he had to go and do prayer, and that's quite a different thing.
And before we do bed down, is it possible, to ask the innkeeper, does he have anything? Does he also have something more appropriate for me as well? Because this is a costume, and I can't wear it all the time. Something more normal would be fantastic.
you properly suited up with a very nice long robe, and
Great.
you would perceive as a long robe, and a pair of shoes, and
Fantastic. Let's just try and
so
fit
you
in a little
look
bit.
very, very fitted in. You all lay down to go to sleep, and the next thing you know, you're on the beach, standing there, and this very large owl flies over your heads and says, and you hear the words, "That's a bit odd then." And that's where we'll stop.
It sounds like a line out of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy where Arthur says, I seem to be having a really terrible problem with my life these days, my lifestyle. And then it turns into like yes. Fantastic.
Lovely.
Excellent.
Very nice. Oh.
And that is indeed. I'll just end the stream.